I'm Reagan Blaha, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll tell you how one professor dealt with the aftermath of cyberbullying.
September is National Literacy Month, and I'm here to tell you what your community is doing to promote literacy throughout the county. I'm Carly Gibson, and that story's coming up next.
I'm Shelby Davis, and I'll take you behind the scenes of Muslim American students' lives that have been affected since 9/11. Our Emmy Award-winning WVU News starts now. 17 years after the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and Muslim Americans are still facing discrimination. I'm Shelby Davis.
And I'm Shanna McNeil. Deaths from drug overdoses continue to rise, and some universities are offering recovery programs for students to get clean and sober.
These stories and more on WVU News, an Emmy Award-winning newscast produced by journalism students right here at West Virginia University.
A new FBI report on hate crimes against Muslims shows that assaults against Muslims are up by 38% from 2015. In fact, racially motivated attacks are at their highest number since 9/11.
I spoke to Muslim Americans at WVU to see how their lives have changed since September 11th.
On September 11th, 2001, 16 million viewers were glued to their TVs as the World Trade Center was hit. Recent polls show discrimination against Muslim Americans is 5 times more common. WVU student Noor Deshawn says her sister has even had her headscarf pulled off.
So it's just always been like little small things like all throughout life, but like it's always just been something I've used to, which is, you know, that's not something anyone should be used to, but that's just unfortunately how it is.
Even though many Muslims were in an uproar following Trump's travel ban from 7 Muslim nations, Noor was amazed by the public outcry against it.
I've actually felt like there was an increase in support, which was like interesting for me because we saw so many things like with like the Muslim ban come out. And in that instance, I actually really realized what it meant to be an American.
86% of Americans say they want to live in a country where no one is targeted for their religious beliefs. They also say that Muslims as a whole should not be responsible for any act of violence committed by a Muslim.
Through remembering these events, it's important that we also remember that these were actions perpetrated by terrorists, not Muslims.
For me, like I'm a proud Muslim, I'm a proud American, I'm a proud Egyptian, proud mountaineer. So none of those things I think hinder the ability to be proud of another identity. They're all just who I am.
West Virginia University is home to over 1,400 Muslim American students, a number much larger than most universities.
In a Pew Research Center study from last year, 75% of Muslim Americans say there is a lot of discrimination against Muslims in America.
Some people take hate crimes and other forms of harassment to an online platform.
The percentage of people victimized by cyberbullying has doubled over the past 10 years. Reagan Blaha joins us now from Social Square to tell us more. Reagan?
Thanks, Shelby. Bullying is no longer restricted to the playground. In fact, children aren't the only ones who get bullied. The Pew Research Center found that 73% of adults have seen someone get bullied online, and 40% have been harassed on the internet. I spoke with a WVU professor who had his life turned upside down because of cyberbullying. Professor Daniel Brewster has been teaching sociology at WVU for the past 14 years. He's also very vocal in being an advocate for students. But he was not prepared to defend himself 2 years ago when conservative speaker Milo Yiannopoulos verbally attacked him.
It became like a national news story at this point. And so like people from all over the country were tweeting at me, and like I was getting emails, and like my phone was literally exploding.
But the bullying didn't end there. Milo posted the 6-minute rant on social media. To date, this video on YouTube has nearly 500,000 views.
The message that he disseminated was what like inspired these men and women to, you know, attack me for 7 months.
Dr. Nick Bowman says cyberbullying can cause a great amount of psychological distress.
They can develop some, antagonism towards people around them. They can develop a lot of withdrawal symptoms where they just don't want to be around people anymore. And when we're talking about cyberbullying, where it's something you can't escape, you never get the opportunity to cope with those things.
I've been diagnosed with depression for years. I'd never been diagnosed with anxiety, and it developed after this.
But ironically, the one place where Professor Brewster found acceptance was on the internet. Hashtag Because of Brewster became a trending topic on Twitter. Thousands of people posted, liked, or shared stories of love and support for Brewster.
It was probably the first time in my life that I actually felt like I wasn't alone.
And when it comes to cyberbullying, Brewster is not alone. Up to 29% of college students experience some type of cyberbullying. As of June 8th of this year, cyberbullying in West Virginia is now a crime to anyone under the age of 18. The law is referred to as Grace's Law. Grace was a teenager from Maryland who committed suicide after being bullied online. Maximum punishment for this crime includes a $500 fine and up to a year in jail.
Thanks, Reagan. Bullying isn't the only cause of depression and suicide, especially among young people.
Substance abuse not only causes depression, but can leave an addict with lasting mental health issues, even after they're sober. Bree Clark joins us now in the studio with more. Bree?
That's right. Binge drinking, prescription drug abuse, and recreational drugs are all major problems on college campuses across the country. Stress, course load, and peer pressure are all contributing factors to why students turn to drugs and alcohol. But WVU wants to give students who may suffer from substance abuse or other mental health issues a safe place to recover on the road to sobriety. Serenity Place is the heart of the Collegiate Recovery Program at WVU. Over the past 2 years, it's provided students a safe environment on campus to call home.
We're not only forming a community, but we're also forming a movement on campus to celebrate recovery.
Dr. Kathy Ura is a psychologist and the director of the Collegiate Recovery Program. She helped start the program in 2016, and many say it's been a lifesaver.
If I hadn't been surrounded by the love here and the support and the fact that other people had gone through similar things, it would have been, I don't think I would have completed by May.
Andrea Winters is now the project coordinator for the program, but just last year she was a member. Andrea arranges weekly study sessions, yoga classes, and provides support for current members.
Research shows that college students who receive a single individual counseling session are likely to reduce their substance abuse. But the recovery program here at WVU offers help not only to those struggling with addictions, but those who battle anxiety, depression, and eating disorders.
What our philosophy is that it's for students who are both in recovery from a substance use disorder, eating disorder, or behavioral health issue, or people who just support people who are going through it.
If you or someone you know at WVU is struggling with addiction or mental health issues, contact the Collegiate Recovery Program to receive help. If you would like more information about Serenity Place or WVU's Collegiate Recovery Program, you can contact them directly at 304-293-2547.
Thanks, Bree. West Virginia continues to have one of the highest numbers of opioid-related deaths in the nation and one of the lowest literacy rates.
The state is promoting the benefits of reading during National Literacy Month, hoping to change the fact that 40% of adults in West Virginia do not possess basic reading skills. Carly Gibson joins us now from the Media Innovation Center to tell us more. Carly?
According to the U.S. Department of Education, 32 million adults in America can't read. And what many people don't know about right here at home is West Virginia is ranked 49th in the nation for having one of the highest illiteracy rates. However, literacy volunteers of Monongalia and Preston counties are here to change those numbers by encouraging people to not only read more books, but also be more digitally literate. For 20 years now, Sarah Palfrey has been working in libraries in an effort to make it a literacy staple in the community.
I've seen literacy problems change over the last couple of decades drastically when it comes to digital literacy. That the basic levels that people need to get by on, in some ways it gets easier to just get by because of the help of technology, and in other ways the gap gets even bigger.
And in Monongalia County alone, 14% of people have low reading levels.
Limited literacy affects people in lots of different ways. For adults, it makes it challenging to get a job, to support their kids with their education. For kids, it's just a whole part of growing up that they miss out on.
Living in a world that is fast-paced and ever-changing with low literacy rates can cause people a lot of issues, such as being unable to hold a job, hold a bank account, and to efficiently manage their money. But the literacy volunteers of Monongalia and Preston County are trying to raise those reading levels.
About a fifth of West Virginians are functionally illiterate. or at least reading below a 4th, 3rd grade reading level.
This organization thrives on volunteers and normally has 100 to 120 people help with events each year to promote reading. This organization wants to stress how important it is to encourage children to read. Statistics show 2/3 of students who are not proficient by the end of 4th grade will end up in jail or on welfare. If you know someone who could benefit from a reading tutor, call the number at the bottom of your screen. Now back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
I've always known how important reading is, Shelby, but those are some interesting statistics.
They are, Shannon. Well, coming up after the break, Julia Mellett takes us back in time to honor a WVU
Before the
football
likes
team
of Will
from
Greer
the
and
80s.
David Sills, there were Willie Edwards and the Major. I'm Julia Mellett, and coming up next on WVU News, I'll take you back in time to 1988.
We conquer mountains, but that's not why they call us mountaineers. It's because we don't let anything stand in our way. We build what's never been built, seek cures for the incurable, and go first into undiscovered frontiers. We are mountaineers, and impossible is just another mountain to climb.
WVU welcomed back their 1988 football team to the same field they made history on.
2018 marks the 30-year anniversary of a team that's accolades have yet to be replicated. Sports anchor Julia Mellett has more. Julia?
Thanks, Shannon. WVU football head coach Don Nealon and the team returned during the 2018 home opener to commemorate their record-setting season. After finishing 11-0 with a win at home against Syracuse, the 1988 Mountaineers ended the regular season unbeaten and untied for the first time in program history.
As Major, with some beautiful protection up front, hit Calvin Phillips on a long bomb.
The year was 1988, and WVU football was on pace for its first national championship. 30 years later, WVU honors the team.
You know, a lot of times, you feel like you're not appreciated. The books are closed and there's dust on stuff, pictures, VHS tapes we played on. But it's nice that people realize that we kind of set the foundation.
During the home opener against Youngstown State, the 1988 team was welcomed back to the field.
60,000 strong came to Mountaineer Field to see West Virginia take down Youngstown State, but for the 88 Mountaineers, they came back to Milan Puskar Stadium for a very different reason.
After recording the first unbeaten regular season, the band of brothers separated. For some, September 8th was the first they'd seen of their teammates since then. When the team walked back onto the field with their families, though, it was like they had never left.
I come back all the time, you know what I mean? It's like the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, no place like home.
WVU fell to Notre Dame in the 1989 Fiesta Bowl, ending the season. Regardless, the team remains in the records for players like current quarterback Will Greer to emulate.
They're unbelievable. That's a team that we strive to be like. It was cool to get them down on the field and see those guys. That's just one of those teams that we take a lot of pride in it here in this program.
The experience of being the first team to ever go 11-0 was so memorable that Edward's daughter made him a shirt, showcasing the Syracuse scoreboard commemorating the undefeated season.
2018 will feature souvenir cups like this one that highlight the 1988 accolades. Season throwbacks will also be posted on Facebook and on the video boards at Milan Puskar Stadium. The 12th ranked Mountaineers will be back in action September 22nd at 3:30 p.m. to take on Kansas State.
And we're hoping for a win. Thanks, Julia, for that story. Well, that's it for this week's edition of WVU News. You can visit us online on our website.
You can also watch our shows on YouTube, and please follow us and our reporters on Twitter. I'm Shannon McNeil.
And I'm Shelby Davis. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.